Come here. Come here. Come here. Hey guys, how you going? Yeah, everything's good now. Finally feeling a lot better. Sammy. Yeah, it was a bit of a rough one. Go see the specialist on Monday as well, so might be getting some surgery. But it's another day in paradise. What's everyone up to on this Saturday afternoon? Anyone got any questions for me? Yeah, flushing a coolant system. Definitely needs to be done, and it needs to be done properly. There's a few ways to do it. There is a power flush unit you can use. There's also a vacuum recovery style system you can use. And thermostats are not getting replaced as much as they used to. Back when I started, we used to do a thermostat every season. Sorry, not every season, every year at the beginning of the summer season. And now, because the price of thermostats is so high, we only really do them when they failed. i30N, I only sat in one for about 10 minutes when we were looking for new cars, and they look like a real awesome bit of kit. So yeah, I'd like to get one into the workshop to really have a good look at it though. The Rangers, any of the Rangers with the P5 AT, so it's the 3.2 litre is the most common to fail. The 2.2 does fail, but nowhere near as much as the 3.2. So anything that has that engine in it is likely to fail at some point, somewhere, somehow. Yeah, I was working today. It was really busy, really busy. I pretty much just got home and yeah. Yes, Sam, there was a lot of services. One didn't turn up. One of the ladies is actually in hospital. I'm not sure what that was for, but we had a few other randoms turn up, so a few aircon regasses and stuff. The Equinox, I've only ever seen a couple of them. Like, they drive really nice. I haven't seen much to do with the reliability. Yeah, like, it's still an Opel at the end of the day. Sorry, ZD30. I'm not a fan of them, but if you have to choose between a ZD and a YD25, just from my point of view, I've repaired a lot more YD25 over a ZD30. But ZD30 does have the nickname Grenade. Pat, your BT50, it sounds like you've got a sensor failing. You really need to go get it scanned and see what's the fault codes, because there's quite a lot of things, and if it keeps going into limp mode, that's the computer trying to protect your engine from blowing up, so go get it sorted. 80 series petrol is probably the highest fuel guzzler I've ever owned in my life. I had 100 series petrol and it was insane on petrol. Back when the fuel price was like 98 cents, I think it was near $200 to fill both tanks, and I was still only getting about 500 Ks out of a tank, out of both tanks. So I'd definitely go the diesel. It depends on your budget for a first car, economical. I'd definitely have to say our courtesy cars are probably up there in the good first cars. Suzuki Swift, Alto, Suzuki Alto, sorry, and Hyundai Getz. Aside from that, i30s, the good old standard i30s, Kia Rios. Depending on how old, don't go too old with a lot of these cars though, because like Hyundai and Kia, I think it was about '09 that they started really making good motor cars. Before that, they're probably in the same field as what Great Wall is now. Ooh, sorry, let me catch up 1 second. Verdict on a 98 Lancer. 98 Lancers were good. I'd say the hardest thing on them was just doing belts and stuff because they had normal weird brackets, but they're a good little car. Second gen Toyota Surf. I'm not sure what year that is, but being a Surf, they did have their problems. Parts are getting very hard to find for a lot of cars at the moment. If you get rid of the thermostat, it takes a lot longer to warm up the engine. So it's not really good for it to run cold. So all your bearing clearances need the heat to expand to be in their tolerance. Then you've also got oil temperature, stays cold for too long. Best thing to do if you do need to remove a thermostat is actually just take the centerpiece of the thermostat out and refit the plate itself. Otherwise you'll get too much flow, and if you get too much flow, it actually won't cool the engine either. Thoughts on Alfa Romeos? Not good. Not good at all. Silly Speed has a nickname, Silly Speed, because we used to put heaps of them in. Timing belts are an absolute pain to do. Parts are so hard to get and really expensive. Although there was one model of Alfa, but of course it was the top of the line one. Apparently they were pretty good, but I don't know. I'd steer clear myself. But at the end of the day, I do say drive what you like, not what is reliable. Your 300ZX hasn't been started. Was fine. I'd be putting fresh fuel in that thing and oil straight away. Dump pretty much every fluid you can, get it flushed out and cleaned. And then after that, really look at all your rubber components like belts, hoses, things like that, because 6 years is a long time between drives, really. Keeping my... So, barefoot, I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Oh, sorry, there must have been another question. Hang on, wait. Oh yeah, 80 series. Oh, if you're towing a car with an 80 series, don't go there. I towed a car from Port Macquarie to the Gold Coast, and it was a Jeep Cherokee. $840 in fuel it cost me, and that was back in probably 2012. So that was a very expensive trip. I should have just put it on a truck. The shop is located in Mollendina on the Gold Coast, just off the M1. Pretty easy to find it. Patrol versus Land Cruiser, and which one would you own and why? It depends on what year model. This is actually a really good question because I've never really liked Patrol. Nissan has always had some quirky little things that they do. Their diffs are definitely better in the Patrol than a Land Cruiser. I just found that the Land Cruiser was a better designed vehicle suspension-wise. But now that new Y62, I think it is, the V8 Land Cruiser, Patrol, I would be very keen to have a go at that. That car is horn. Sorry, there is a lot of questions here. 98 Lancer with 200,000 Ks on it. 200,000 Ks on a Lancer is not really a bad thing. And being that old, you can drive that thing until it dies. Good family car for towing. It depends on what size capacity you want to tow. Most common rail diesels are really good for towing these days. Tritons, I've seen Tritons really abused and they still keep going. I've got one customer, I think he's up to 350,000 Ks. He services it maybe every 80,000 Ks. And we give him a whole bunch of service recommendations, and it's usually just keep the aircon going. So that's one good vehicle. I'd be really looking at, it really depends on how old you want to go as well. So there's a lot of cars out there. 350Zs, they're a good little car, totally impractical for me, but one of my mechanics actually had one for a while, and he got that thing cracking pretty good, learned how to drift it really well. The new Jiminy's. I haven't really played with a lot of the new Jiminy's, but there is a hire company on the Gold Coast that literally you can just go hire a Jiminy. I'd like the opportunity to go for a really good drive in one, but the old Jiminy's, I rate them. The old Jiminy's, we had a company that used to read the meters for Energex, and they used to go out in weird bush locations and they used to thrash the crap out of them. They didn't care. And I think the worst we ever did was clutches, and they had death wobble, which we made up a steering damper for them. How you going, Fat Mechanic? Good to see you online. Yeah, D-Maxes are good. They are really good. ZD30 Navaris, never had a problem. Just flushing coolant because disgusting. Yes, definitely flush your coolant. I'd probably almost just even rip your radiator out by now as well. Make sure you don't have any real blockages in your radiator, because that's a lot of Ks. No worries, Barefoot. EGR delete cables. So I don't really like anything that is very cheaply made and designed to bypass something when there is a better way of doing it. And the better way of doing it is getting a proper tune done and get the EGR removed at that time. Pretty much every plug and play thing that I've seen fitted to a lot of cars has caused major problems down the road. They usually work for a while, they'll get some water in them, then they'll start really spiking things and making it really difficult to either diagnose or cause another issue. So I would really steer clear, and just remember, poor man pays twice. So just do your research and get the best option, not the cheap option. Holden Caprice. I love Caprices. I love the newer ones. We've got one customer that actually had a limo Caprice, and we cammed it, we put stall converter in it, we've done heaps of stuff, and now his old man's retired, so he's taken that car, the other Statesman, over as well. And now it's just his daily driver, and I love driving it, and I took it to go pick up the kids from school, and it was the best fun ever, because it's like, yeah, heaps of fun. Wow, there is a lot of questions. Slow down. Hi, Pure Blood. Thoughts on a 2H? 2Hs were a good solid engine, they're just old. I do know a guy that has a 79 series Land Cruiser, and he has actually back converted to a 2H because when he was going around Australia, knowing that pretty much everywhere had parts for a 2H then, that's why he did it. I don't know if that's still the case around the country, because parts for any car at the moment is becoming a joke. Cheers, Beck. TD42s, look, they're a good engine, they're a slug. Once you put a turbo on them, much better. Unfortunately, I'd say a lot of them are just really clapped out now, and they are very expensive to fix. But if you compare it to a ZD30, I'd definitely say go get a TD42 every day of the week. New D-Maxes, yes, I like the new D-Max. I like the BT50 better, just the interior is a bit nicer. I do like my creature comforts. There's a little bit more technology in it as well, because Mazda's definitely put their little flair on it. Your Hilux, I'm going to assume it's a diesel, and it depends what color smoke, but it does sound like an injector. And I would go get that checked very quickly, because they are really renowned for melting pistons when the injectors fail. Series 2 VT Commodore, that used to be my pride and joy. Used to have one of them. It got to 485,000 Ks as a courtesy car. And the transmission finally blew up in it, and I had had enough. So that's the only reason I got rid of that car. They were definitely a really good platform. Do I hold any crypto? I did, and I'm an idiot because I sold it. I had Bitcoin. I had like $1,000 worth of Bitcoin when it was $6 years ago, and I sold it because I freaked out. But I have kind of one on that Shibu, whatever it is. I put $100 in that back when it first got released. I think that's at about $1,200 or something now, but that's all I've really played with. Yes, I'm vaccinated. Yes. Didn't do it for me, did it for everyone else around me. And at the end of the day, I like my freedom. Queensland has just gone to completely masks free. We don't have to worry about anything anymore. We're actually getting back to normality. All the nightclubs are open again properly. Yeah, it's just like, it just has to be done, unfortunately. Sorry, Tyson, I've already answered the TD42. They're a good engine. Thoughts on Volvos? Old Volvos were solid. Their engines were crap. Newer Volvos, I'm hearing a lot of good things. I haven't seen too many. I've got a mate that's just ordered a brand new Volvo, so I'm very keen to have a look at that. Apparently Volvo is definitely coming leaps and bounds with their car. They're not just an old man's car, but I am an old man now, so I may like it. 98 Nissan Pulsar. I used to have one, bought it brand new. Well, my parents bought it brand new, and it was canary yellow. It was a Pulsar Q, and it was terrible. How's the health? Thanks for asking. Yes, I am finally getting better. My brother actually got the same infection, and he has still got issues with his sinuses now, but because he was not on anywhere near the amount of antibiotics and stuff I was, yeah, he's still copping it, but I am going to see a specialist on Monday because it looks like they're going to be doing something up there. So yeah, I'm definitely a lot better, but there's still more to this story to come. Navara or D-Max? D-Max. 2H is good. TD42, you've already asked that. Jack, I'm not sure what you were referring to, sorry. Thoughts on Camry hybrids? Really good car, really good platform. I think Camry is one of the best vehicles made. Honestly, we do nothing to Camrys. The worst I've ever seen to a Camry was it start to block up the oil pickup from not changing the oil. Other than that, we've done alternators, and most of the normal Camrys are solid. The hybrids, the hybrid design, and Toyota has done a really good job on their hybrid design, and they've spent heaps on developing it. I'm definitely a fan of the hybrid idea, and I think they did a really good job on that. Mazda 3, 09, 2.5 fluctuating idle whilst in drive and park. Other than that, they have throttle body issues. It's probably got an issue with your throttle body or a vacuum leak, I would take a guess. Hey, Danny, thank you. I wouldn't say gotten heaps busier through TikTok. Yes, we get a lot of customers coming through from TikTok now. I would say that I can wind back Google AdWords is probably the best comparison, because what we were spending on Google AdWords was getting out of hand. And I would say the same amount of new customers are coming through as they were. The weird thing is when people come in and they talk to me like they've known me for 100 years and I have absolutely no idea who they are. And it's kind of weird and it freaks me out a little, but I'm dealing with it. Kia Sportage 2013 2-litre petrol is a really good car. Kia Sportage, definitely a really good car. The 2-litre petrol, I can't actually think of anything off the top of my head to say that you need to get checked or looked at. Just keep your servicing up. That's pretty much the main thing. The mighty AU Falcon. Well, the AU Falcon kept us in business for a long time, but I'm finally starting to appreciate them a little bit more due to Liam and James, because they're just absolutely AU mad. And unfortunately, I think it got hit with the ugly stick, but it was definitely a better build car than what the BA and the FG were. So, yeah. Did I miss your comment on Holden Cruiser's reliability? I didn't actually comment on it, but Holden Cruisers, do not touch, do not go near. If you own one and it's still driving, get rid of it now. Like, just go. That is the worst car on the road as far as maintenance goes. Yeah, oil coolers are probably the worst thing on them, and then once they've gone, everything else just keeps failing after that. There's a lot of questions asked over and over, so sorry, 1 second. Every 10,000 Ks is perfect for servicing. It's the biggest issue with the Ranger is the engine blows up. That's the most expensive, and it is literally, depending on how much you need to replace and what else you need to replace. If you need to do a turbo and injectors, expect somewhere 15 to 16 grand, depending on what needs to be done. And there is a lot of upgrades you can do, like an oil pump, for example. That's the first one I would do, but not everyone opts for that because it is extra. Thoughts on a VSS Commodore? I loved the VSS Commodore. Their drivability is awesome. Their electrics are crap. The engine is the best. The autos are okay. The manuals are really good. The diffs explode if you give them a really, really hard time. But a set of 411s and a True Track will sort that out real quick. Is my Ranger going to blow up? I'm scared. It is really hard to tell when they're going to blow up. I would have to say that most of the Rangers that I have seen that have blown up have been doing a lot of towing. I don't know exactly why that comes into play. In a lot of the research I did, because I had a warranty claim on one, and that's why I hate them so much, because we rebuilt one and it melted a piston again within 5,000 Ks. Now, in the research I did, Ford UK has got an active recall on the Transit for the same engine for number 3 cylinder melting, and they do a software update that lowers the EGTs. Ford Australia does not admit to this claim, and Mazda is even worse. They say they don't have a problem at all. So as soon as the manufacturer starts hiding things, that's when it gets really bad. i30 with 180,000 on it. It's got a long way to go. One of my ex-mechanics still has one, and he thrashes the living crap out of it, goes through more tyres than he does in kilometres, and it's still going real good. Mazda 3. Oh yeah, same question, sorry. This Navara D-Max question by Tides. I've already answered this, but yeah, I'm probably a bit slow. Definitely D-Max. Subarus are good. Love Subis. They are just prone to overheating. So if the cooling system fails, the heads are going to go, and then it is an expensive fix. And with Subarus, I'd say the only time they really become problematic is once you start banging a heap of boost into them. And, you know, that's what everyone wants to do. Photon, no way, no how, funny story comes to mind with a Photon. So Photon truck, 2.8 ISF, I think they're called. One of the fleets I used to do bought 3 brand new ones when they hit the country, and the drive shaft fell out in the first 5,000 Ks. 2 wheels fell off, 2 different ones. Countless problems, worst driving car I've ever been in, but yeah, I'd just stay away from Photon. And a lot of the dealers actually lost their licensing to do the warranty claims, and I believe UltraTune is now doing the warranty claims for Photon because there was no dealers left. Renault. Now, Renault is a good engine manufacturer. It actually now owns Nissan, so it supplies Nissan with all its engines. We can't get away from Renault now, unfortunately. They do have some weird stuff, though. Oh, no. I'm sorry that you've got a Chrysler Grand Voyager. They were also problematic with timing chains and a lot of other stuff. I am really sorry to hear that. The new Sportage, I haven't seen any yet, but Kia has pretty much, they're bang on at the moment. I think Kia and Hyundai are they're kicking goals. They are what Toyota and Mazda were 20 years ago. I'd say Hyundai and Kia are in exactly the same position as what they were then. Any common problems with it? Yes, I've owned a VT. Common problems: inlet manifold gaskets, alternators, transmissions. That's probably your main ones, and tail light wiring harnesses. It's a Saturday here, so already home from work. I'm actually really late home from work. TB45s, I've only done a little bit on them. Had a mate had one that he turboed, and that thing was insane. They were a good solid engine. Same, what's the worst? Compressed or cut springs? Compressed is probably worse than cut, but cut isn't much better. That's in refer to springs. I just wouldn't do that. Mustang GTs, the V8 ones are fun. The EcoBoost apparently aren't too bad. We only have one so far in our customers that come in for servicing, and it only has, I think it's like 7,000 Ks on it, and it's literally his Sunday car, so I doubt it's going to see much other than that. Name something for an edit. I don't know what you're talking about. Hola. Look, most Tritons are pretty solid. They used to have a lot of EGR problems, a couple of inlet manifold problems. I still rate Triton. I don't rate much other Mitsubishis though, but Triton seems to be doing pretty good. Hey, where'd you go? Oh, wow. Sorry, I just got like 55 messages just pop up. What, mate? Oh, how are you, Mickey? I haven't seen you on Snapchat for a while. What's going on? Are you still alive? Are you still kicking? Or are you just working your ass off and half dead? I signed up with Repco basically to, well, first and foremost, get nationwide warranty. It's definitely a really good thing. Also, the support network of the other workshops. We have a lot of meetings and conferences and stuff, so That's really good to go to. I think we've got a dinner planned where we can just go network with other workshops all around Brisbane and Gold Coast. So I'm pretty excited about that. Aside from that, you know, it's just a bigger name and a lot of people know the brand, so they trust it. Toughest car out there. Well, it's built, it's not bought. That's the toughest one for sure. Best Ute built in the last 5 years. I'm not sure where the recall finished on the timing chains on the Hilux, but I believe the new ones are pretty good. Amaroks, I really like them, and D-Max and the brand new BT50, not the old one. It has to be a 2021 or newer. Harvest, baby. Fried and busy. Yeah, I bet you're busy. Just look after yourself, man. Last time I saw you, you did not look well. Subaru Impreza, non-turbo, usually really good. Oil leaks are probably the only thing you'd be worried about. Teslas, honestly, I have never seen a Tesla in the workshop. Tesla, as a company, have a really good platform for customer service, and I don't actually expect to see a Tesla in my workshop. So basically, Tesla, if they need anything other than a tire rotation, they get put on a truck and sent to where the engineers are, not to the dealership. Beamer E60 530i. I think we've only ever serviced one once. Most Beamers are just prone to oil leaks. That's probably all I can really say about them. Colorados are decent. They're a good solid platform. Mitsubishi ASX, I'm not a fan. They've got a lot of issues with ABS and stuff like that. 16 CX-5 diesel, you'd have to check what year, but there is an oil consumption problem on the CX-5 diesels. One of my mates has one. We literally had to just do an oil pump on it because it blocked up all the pickup and destroyed the pump. Santa Fe diesel, I've seen a fair few of them. I'd say harmonic balancer is probably the most common thing. We have done one set of injectors, but that was due to incorrect fuel being put in the car. Yeah. Cheers, Rat King. Appreciate that. O4 Triton V6 grunt. There's not really a lot you can do to them, unfortunately. Put a turbo on it would be the best way to get grunt out of it. Worst car. There's a lot out there. There's so many cars out there that are... Astra probably has the worst one that comes to mind because of how bad everything was on them. Yeah. MG, but I didn't say that out loud. New Camry hybrid or RAV4 hybrid. I'm pretty sure that they're exactly the same car, just one's all-wheel drive, one's not, and one's higher than the other. I'd be comfortable with each one out of the Camry or the hybrid. It's more that's more a choice that you need to make. VSIDIs, expensive. Just, that's my thoughts. Timing chain and injectors are probably the main things. Fuel pump modules, another one. Yeah, because when they drop an injector, they're almost like a diesel injector because they're a high pressure fuel pump. So they basically run very similar. The old Nissan Silvia S13s, if you can find a good one, it's worth a shitload. If you find a really bad modified one, I would walk away. Foresters, most of them are pretty good. Even the diesel was decent in the Foresters. 26R, what year is that? Sorry, your Hilux that you're looking at buying. The 1.6 Astra Turbo. Yeah, they're pretty common to a lot of problems as well. 3-litre Hiluxes. Biggest thing with the Hiluxes is water pumps and injectors. You keep an eye and keep on top of them and you should be okay. Oh, and turbos. Turbos do fail a lot. 2000 Rodeo, 3.2 V6 Isuzu. Any major problems? Yes. Number one, bearing knock. It will happen at some point. They spin the bearing so bad that it needs a brand new crankshaft, and I do not know if you can buy them anymore. Love Kia. Kia and Hyundai are in a really good place at the moment. So just don't buy an old one. New ones are good. My dream car would be a McLaren. Yeah, they're wicked. Totally impractical, but they're wicked. And if we went to just a everyday car, I want a Dodge Ram. That's what I want next. Yes. Would I ever collab with fellow TikTok mechanics in person? Yes, I definitely would. I actually drove halfway up to meet I Am Snake Fab. He, unfortunately, that day that I was heading up there, couldn't go in because his daughter was sick and something else happened. I'm also looking to head down to Melbourne at some stage and meet up with Jace from Tooltech, old mates, Mechanic Jack, and even going across down to meet Pokey. I'm actually kind of excited to go down and meet Pokey. There is a bit of a deal, so that could happen if I can get away from the family. Yeah, but definitely collaboration and yeah, just general getting together. I've actually really become really good friends with all of them. We talk quite a lot through Snapchat or even on the phone. Like I almost talk to Pokey pretty much every day at the moment. NP300s, few idiosyncrasies with them. My head mechanic working for me has just bought a brand new one. He seems to think that they're okay. And also my office manager, Sam, has one as well. So as far as their reliability, nothing's broken on them. We have done a couple of sets of injectors. We have done the boost control solenoids from one guy going through water. Oil consumption is probably one of the big ones, and rear mains, I hear a lot of that happening. The i30's perfect to buy anytime. Best advice on rebuilding a 2H is go do everything correctly. Don't shortcut. Take your time. Measure everything. Measure it 3 times before you put it together and send it. And get your pump done. Get your injectors done. Ash John, vibration from acceleration in a low gear. I would have to say it's probably going to be something like an engine mount or a drive shaft issue. Would be my best guess without driving it myself. Joey, it is never too late to put a catch can on a car. I bought a Jeep Commander. It had 200 and something thousand Ks on it when I bought it. First thing I did was put a catch can on it. And every time we emptied it, it always had 200 to 500 ml of oil in it. So it's never too late. Hybrid or diesel? Hard to say. Like, I would probably go hybrid over a diesel if I had to choose a new car or something like that, just based on cost of repairs. Hybrids really do not need much in the way of repairs. I have serviced an IS 450H since, no, yeah, I think it's an IS. It's the Lexus 450H. We serviced it from pretty much brand new. Worst we ever had to do was filters, a set of spark plugs once, and an oil change. As long as whoever is servicing your hybrid knows to go check the battery, filters, and fan and make sure they're clean, because that's what wears out the hybrid battery, is the battery's just getting hot. Yeah, Astra, it doesn't matter what model Astra, you need to get rid of it. Best P-plater car, find something good in your budget that has been looked after, that suits your needs, and take care of it. That's the best car for a P-plater. I would probably go Hyundai or Kia from 2009, I think it is, onwards. Don't go any older though. If you're lowering anything and there is a lowered option in shocks, yes, I would definitely do it if you can, but there's not a lot that actually make shorter shafts. There's some really bad advertising around on shocks and stuff. Really, the best option for anything, if you really want to lower it properly, is put a set of coilovers in it, and put a good set of coilovers in it. The old Subaru Foresters, they were pretty good. They're simple to work on. Oil leaks are probably the biggest thing, and maintain the cooling system. Porsche Macan or a GLC? I'm assuming you're saying a Mercedes in the GLC. P-plater performance car doesn't exist. Just get a car, drive it, wait until you can get a real car. Your 03 3RZ Hilux. 3RZs are a really good engine. They were most common for burning out valves, so being that high in kilometers, I'd probably get your injectors pulled out and cleaned. That will just maintain that side of things, but other than that, that engine is strong. It is very tough. Just keep your servicing up, but I'd definitely keep an eye on your fuel system. Yeah, Bruno, I hear you. The 80 series petrol is definitely a lot cheaper than the diesel. Unfortunately, you are going to be putting a lot of fuel into that car though. It's just inevitable. It's a massive engine. Like, it's a 4.5 litre engine. The pistons are massive in that thing. Great Wall, Canon, whatever they want to call it. Look, they're okay. They're definitely getting better. I think they need probably another 2 or 3 years at least in R&D before they become really good. With the Havels, we have not had one come through the workshop yet at all. So I don't know yet. I haven't even read up on them. I just want to see one. So I'd like to see one. Sorry guys, a lot of people are redoing questions and I am 100 behind. So general thoughts on Audi performance vehicles. Really good brand new. Once they start getting a bit older, I would definitely get rid of it. Yeah, they can get really expensive really quick. I did just talk about the MP300s just before. There's a few small issues with them, but I'd say in the grand scheme of things, look after it. Oil, put a catch can on it. That's probably the main thing. injectors do start to fail. Apparently the computers are a bit funny, but yeah. The old 75 series Troopy. Yeah, I don't fit in them. They're a good solid unit. Handbrakes never work. Gear sticks always almost fall out of them, but aside from that, they're not too bad. Mark 5, the Mark 5 GTI with a DSG, you're probably going to end up being a problem with that DSG at some stage. I hope you don't have to ever put a clutch in it because that is expensive. VDJs, not a fan. Honestly, we've put more engines in them than what we've serviced. So usually the only time I see them is to fit engines because we have a couple of deals with a few engine builders, so they just send the vehicle straight to us. We've probably got 3 or 4 that are on our service books. Actually, there's probably a few more than that, but yeah, I've done a lot of engines in them. Sorry, this has gone crazy. Hyundai Tucsons. The brand new ones, haven't played with them, but Hyundai's build quality now is really good. So I would be fairly keen to get one. Well, there you go. Sam's answered someone's question for us. Just enjoying an afternoon beer while the family has gone out, so it's a bit quiet around here, which is good. I haven't looked at the 300 series yet. I've actually had a few people on Snapchat send me some snaps of them coming through pre-delivery, so other mechanics, but I haven't really had a chance to play with it. I am curious to see what they've done. Audi A6 with the 3 litre V6 bi-turbo diesel. Audi makes a very good diesel engine. I would be fairly confident owning that. That thing is a cracker. I have a Volkswagen Amarok 2 litre, so I have no problem with them. There's a few things that you should get fixed before you do anything. Get the EGR removed. There's a plastic plate that goes over the top of the drive belt. Now the problem with that is sand gets stuck in it, and the other one is mechanics are usually too lazy to take that cover off to see the quality of the drive belt. The drive belt snaps, wraps around the pulley, and breaks the timing belt. You now need an engine. That has been the primary concern for engines being rebuilt, aside from the EGR cooler leaking coolant into the engine. Fix those 2 things. You should not have any other issues with it, and fit a catch can, obviously. Skyline or a 350 GT, they're the same car. V6 sound flat when cold and won't start when warm. Cranks and starts fine. Really need to see that. That's sort of a bit hard to understand. Subaru Foresters, decent cars. Last of the Rodeos or a Triton. Last of the Rodeos. Oh yeah, no, that 3 litre motor that was in the last of the Rodeos was pretty good, but the Triton in that same era is still pretty good. Yeah, I'm going good. Thank you for asking. Those Colorados are fairly solid. Few coolant leak issues, but that's pretty much it. Get it serviced properly and you should be right. A Skyline, same as the 350 really. They were pretty reliable. I haven't seen too many of the actual Skylines. We've seen more 350s and 370s. That's about it. Oh, I don't know. Pray tell. Tell me what's happening with that Rodeo. Sorry, 1 second. What's the stage 2 tune on? Sorry. Wow. The XT Forester with 175 on it should be pretty good. If it's the diesel one, you might be coming up to a DPF. I really want to see a Y62 Patrol. Pretty keen to have a really good look at them. I'm hearing good things. I haven't heard anything really bad. Those auto locker diffs, they're actually really good. We used to fit hundreds of them to the front of Jeeps. It was a little bit annoying when you did a U-turn because they used to clunk because you couldn't unlock the hubs. But if you have locking hubs on your front end, you wouldn't even notice a difference. But yes, it's probably the best bang for buck locker on the market. Most reliable 4x4 around nowadays, other than the Amarok, of course. Isuzu or the brand new BT. That's pretty much what I'm recommending all the time. Colorados are good, but yeah. Pretty much most of the Colorados are really good. The petrol ones were terrible though. Where'd you go? There was a question there that sounded good. 351 Chev, well it'd be a 350 Chev versus an LS. LS is definitely going to have more horsepower than a 350 Chev, but you can get a 350 Chev cranking with a lot of money, but yeah. Just thoughts on a Ford van. Which Ford van, sorry? Diesel's a bit hard to really comment on with regular or premium. I believe premium's just got an anti-foaming agent. Just get it from a good servo is probably the best thing to say. Best mum car? I bought one, Mazda CX-8. They are wicked. I love it. The old Skylines are good. 32 and 33 are probably my favourites. 34 is probably the most common. All the new Mazdas are really good. Any of these Skyactiv ones are really good. We barely do anything to them at all. Pajero Sport, the most I've ever done to a Pajero Sport is lift kit and dual battery systems. But being that they're all round coil spring, they drive really nice. So I do have that to say about them. BCM on a VZ Commodore, depends really. They were pretty common to fail, those BCMs, and if it's a V8 they link to your PIM module and then that can be a bit of a pain in the butt. 15C63s, yeah, really good car. Yeah. The new Hiluxes, I just don't know what year that the timing chain issue was resolved. And that was probably the biggest thing that they had other than DPFs, which Toyota is now sort of doing under warranty. Your SY Territory, it probably actually has got an issue with your timing chain. The reason it'll throw the code when the aircon's on is because the engine actually has more load, so it's trying to adjust your camshaft and it will be out of calibration, basically. Oh, is Danny here? Hey, Krispy Kreme, yes, I'm really good. 18 grand on a P-plate 4-wheel drive. Triton, Colorado. Just have a good look around at what you can get with your budget. That's probably the hard one. That's good looking in the CX-9. Yeah, so the CX-9 and CX-8 are almost identical. The CX-9 is just a little bit bigger. The CX-8 is actually really quite large. Yeah. 05 Tritons are pretty good. HJ75s, look, they've been around for 1 billion years. There's parts pretty much everywhere for them. Most of them are clapped out. Parts for Colorado, now that Holden is gone, yes. It's the same as an Isuzu, pretty much, and the engine is actually the same as a Jeep. So engine parts and timing belts and all that sort of stuff's not really going to be a problem. The only thing that you might come across is genuine specific items for the Colorado, but they still have a duty of care for 10 years. So they'll still have parts around for that. And generally with Holden, what they did was at the 10-year period, they would sell all of their parts to a company like Respares, and then they just buy everything that's left in the country. So of their parts to a company like Respares, and then they just buy everything that's left in the country. So, sorry, I'm going to finish up these questions and I'm going to get out of here for a bit. Someone's trying to sell their GQ on here. That's quite funny. Looking to buy a Rex, looking for terms of... Whoops. Where'd that go? The earlier the Rex was, the better that they were. Where'd it go? So my radar... Oh, now you've got an immobilizer issue. Man, I think oil-soaked rag and a lighter and the fuel tank might be your best option on that one. Good sale price for Kingswood. Ooh, that's a very good question. I would probably put it to auction, to be honest. How you going, bro? What are you doing awake? I thought it'd be too late for you. Thoughts on Toyota Echo Techs? The Echoes were pretty good. The main issue they had was those where the radiator cap clipped on. Other than that, they were pretty solid. I wouldn't say that Holdens are dangerous to buy because of parts. I would say possibly the new one, like the ZB Commodore and the newer one, yes, might be an issue because aftermarket's probably not going to go into a massive production with them, but VF, pretty much aftermarket has got most of it covered anyway. Best dirt cheap car that will be reliable. Dirt cheap, go look for a Mazda 323, 626. I'm actually going to be selling a 626 shortly. Bulletproof cars, and they'll be cheap. 1HZ with blow-by, not real good. Do a comp test on it. You'll probably find that you've got a few that have dropped out. 4JJ1s, any of those 4J engines are really good because they're designed for a truck. They are actually a truck engine. They run most of the Isuzu, I think it's MPR series trucks. So that's the big Pantech back truck. So that engine has just been dropped into a ute. So you're literally putting a third of the load on that engine. Jeep Compass, So Jeep Compass and Jeep Patriot are not Jeeps. They're built in France, I think it is. I would, yeah, do some homework on it, do some Google. I've only really played with older models, like around the 14s, so I'm not too sure what the differences are with 18s, but I wouldn't own one. Any history with Datsuns? Are you A12, A14? Are you talking like the old, what is it, 120Ys and 120Bs or something? Ford Fiestas, unfortunately, do not get a tick from me. They are made by Ford UK. Anything that's made by Ford UK is generally a piece of crap. G'day, mate. Thanks, State Farm. Appreciate it. Hey, Dano, how you going? I do not like the 200 series. The only thing I like about the 200 series is the size of the interior and the features it has. The engine is a piece of crap. JJC, that's actually primarily the point of me doing TikToks, and we're actually looking into doing some more TikToks specifically for people that just want to know how to do the silly little things, and I want to be able to categorize them. So that's sort of the issue that I've got at the moment. I want them to be able to be accessed like on YouTube. That way it's very easy to get to. So apparently the new Ford Transit is supposed to be really good. I have got one that comes in that's a courier. I have done a TikTok on it already, and the radiator was leaking in it, and it was only 15,000 Ks, I think it was. The new Hiaces have a massive front tyre issue. Because I do a lot of courier vans, so the one I serviced today as well, I think it's already up to 140,000 Ks, and it's a brand new one. And he has put a set of tyres on it almost every 10,000 Ks. Ooh. 2010 SR5 Hilux, injectors, EGR valve, turbo. They're the things you need to get looked at. So I'm not sure what you're talking about with the catch can setup. No worries, Peter. 35K for a four-wheel drive. You should be able to get, like with Amaroks, don't buy anything older than a 15. So if you can get anything newer than that, there's just a lot of upgraded stuff from 15 on. You should be able to get an MP300. They're decent. What else is there? The Tritons are pretty good. Colorado, if you can get it. Yeah, there's a few out there. N55s in a BMW. Yes, it's a good engine. Oil leaks is probably the most you're going to see out of that. One HD FTE, literally the only thing I've ever done to them is service rocker cover gasket and injector pumps. And they were hard to get someone to rebuild the injector pumps and expensive, but if you compare it to common rail car now, it's actually quite cheap. Stuck sump plug on your 4JJ1. It depends why it's stuck and how it's stuck. There's a few ways around it. One, I would generally weld a nut over the top of it if it's stripped. If it's just locked up solid, find a good thread repair guy. We've got one. They'll come drill it out and retap the thread and you won't even know. Worst case is you can take the sump off. I'm going to have to go in about 2 minutes. So I'm just going to try and scan these real quick. Brand new Ranger. I'm not sure too much on them yet. They're still too new because they're that new 2 litre. So it's a bit, yeah. Opinion on Captiva. You spelt it wrong. It's Craptiva. Most of the Tritons are pretty good. Toast with veggie. Happy birthday, mate. TB45s are pretty good. I'd go the 1HD FTE over the TD42. No worries, JJC. All right, I'm going to have to go now, and appreciate you all spending the time. And I will try and get on here and do a few more lives as well. And there's a few more things coming. But enjoy your weekend, guys. Take it easy.